Welcome to HH28, where we unravel the secrets of self-discovery and matchmaking. We are Hugh and Heather,
two master holistic guides dedicated to helping you navigate the worlds of numerology, astrology, and personality in pursuit of meaningful connections.
Ever notice how numbers kind of crop up everywhere, like birthdays, addresses, even those lucky jerseys?
Right.
We even use numbers to describe ourselves sometimes, like, oh, I'm feeling like a solid 8 today.
Yeah, I'm a 10 out of 10.
Exactly. But what if, like, those numbers had a deeper meaning? Not just random, but like a code to understanding ourselves.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. That's where numerology comes in, right?
You got it. And for this deep dive, we are all about the number 1.
The number 1, always a popular one.
Right. So if you identify with that number 1 energy, or maybe you're just curious about someone who does, get ready for some serious aha moments.
Totally. The sources we've been looking at paint a pretty clear picture of this archetype.
They really do. So, number 1, it's more than just being the lone wolf, right? To a deep need for freedom as a driving force. What are your thoughts on that?
It's fascinating, isn't it? It's like this inherent drive to create, to innovate, to kind of lead the charge.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where that classic number 1 confidence comes in.
Exactly. It's fueled by this need to make their own mark on the world.
Which makes so much sense. While we see a lot of entrepreneurs, inventors, people who really shake things up, resonating with that number 1 energy.
Totally. They're not afraid to stand out, to be the first, even if it means going against the grain a little bit.
Totally. Which is a huge strength, for sure. But this can lead to challenges even in their career.
Oh, absolutely. Because they thrive when they're in the driver's seat, which, let's be honest, can make traditional work environments feel stifling.
Can you imagine a number 1 stuck with a micromanaging boss?
Oh, talk about a recipe for disaster.
Right. That independent spirit needs room to breathe, to experiment, to really own their work.
You hit the nail on the head. And that need for autonomy. It doesn't just disappear when it comes to relationships.
Oh, this is where it gets interesting. Because that independent streak we talked about, it shows up in love too. Makes you wonder, what kind of person thrives alongside a number 1?
Right. It's definitely not for everyone. A partner who needs constant reassurance or feels threatened by their independence, that's not going to be a good fit.
Makes sense.
Finding someone who understands and appreciates that need for space.
Well, someone secure enough in themselves to handle that fiery, independent spirit. But it's not just about giving them space, is it?
You're right. It's a two-way street. A compatible partner also needs to match their energy, their zest for life.
Oh, okay. So we're not just talking about a doormat here.
No, not at all. The number 1 needs someone who challenges and inspires them, someone they can consider an equal.
That makes the dynamic so much more interesting.
Absolutely. It's two independent individuals coming together to create something even greater than themselves. But that's the paradox, right? They might crave connection, but struggle to let people in, to be vulnerable. It's like they build these walls to protect that fierce independence.
So it's not enough to just find a partner who understands their need for space.
Yeah.
You also need someone who can kind of break through those walls a little.
Exactly. Someone who can handle the intensity and passion that's underneath that independent exterior. It's about finding that balance between independence and intimacy.
That's such a powerful insight. It's not just about being independent. It's about what you do with that independence in a relationship.
Yeah.
That's huge. And speaking of different dynamics, what happens when you throw another number 1 into the mix?
Ooh, now that's a recipe for a potential power struggle.
Right.
You have two individuals used to taking the lead, which, it can go one of two ways.
It's like a powerhouse couple? Or...
Our Clash of the Titans, right?
Exactly. So the source actually calls it a powerhouse couple, which sounds exciting, but maybe a little exhausting. Can you unpack that a bit?
Well, imagine the energy and the ambition in that relationship. But the key for two number 1s to work is all about communication and compromise.
Which I imagine is easier said than done when you have two natural-born leaders calling the shots.
Oh, for sure. It's like having two suns in the same solar system. There's bound to be some intense gravitational pull.
I love that analogy.
But, when that dynamic works, when they find that balance, it's magic. They push each other to be their best selves.
Okay, so navigating those power struggles could be worth it for that level of shared success.
Absolutely.
Speaking of different dynamics, what about the number 1 with a 5? Now that sounds like a wild ride.
Hold on tight, because this is a combination full of excitement, adventure. Both numbers thrive on freedom, spontaneity. They love trying new things.
It's very much giving, let's book a last-minute trip and figure it out as we go. Am I right?
100%. This pairing is all about embracing the unexpected, living life on their own terms. But, like with everything, there's a flip side.
Okay, there's always a flip side.
With all that freedom, you have the potential for chaos, especially if there aren't any shared goals. A way to ground all that adventure.
So it's not all sunshine and roses, even when a pairing seems perfect on paper.
Yeah.
That's an important reminder. What advice would you give a number 1 and a number 5 trying to make it work? How do they find that balance?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It comes down to finding ways to ground that energy, that enthusiasm. Maybe it's setting shared goals or creating rituals that bring them closer.
It's like finding that anchor that allows them to explore without drifting too far apart. Because even the most adventurous souls need a place to call home.
Exactly. A place where they feel safe and connected. And that's where understanding these pairings, the nuances, it can be so insightful.
Yeah.
Recognizing those pitfalls and navigating them in a way that, fosters growth and understanding.
Speaking of insightful, we got to talk about the master numbers. Those seem to bring a whole other level of intensity to the table. It's like cranking the volume up to 11. Let's start with the number 1, paired with a master number 22.
Ah, the master builder.
Right.
You combine the 1's drive with the 22's vision and practicality, and you have a partnership capable of achieving incredible things.
So they not only dream big, but they actually have the skills to make it a reality.
Precisely. The 22 provides the roadmap, that strategic thinking, while the 1 brings the fuel, that unwavering belief. It's ambition meeting practicality in the best possible way.
Wow. Just imagine the possibilities with that pairing. Okay, my mind is officially blown. Pairing a 1 with a master number like 22, the potential for impact is huge. But before we go too far down the master number rabbit hole, let's circle back to those individual pairings for a sec. We talk 1s with other 1s, 1s with 5s. What about those drawn to like the nurturing energy of a 2? That feels like a whole different vibe.
You're right. It's a fascinating contrast. You've got that inherent independence and drive of the 1, but then the 2's deep desire for connection, for harmony.
It's like they're speaking different love languages almost.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it can't work.
Right. Exactly. It's that classic opposites attract kind of thing.
Right. But how does that actually play out like day to day? What's each person bringing to the table?
Well, the 2 brings this incredible emotional depth and support, which can be so grounding for the 1.
Okay.
Think of it like the 1 is out there conquering the world, right? Chasing those ambitions. And the 2 creates that safe haven for them to come back to, a place to recharge and feel seen.
Okay, I'm feeling warm and fuzzy just picturing that. Like the 2 really creates that home base for the 1 to thrive. But when we've talked about balance in these pairings, what does the 1 need to be mindful of with the 2?
Oh, you're spot on about balance. The 1 can't just bulldoze over the 2's feelings or their need for collaboration. Because 2s are all about partnership, finding that harmonious middle ground.
Right.
If the 1 just charges ahead without considering the 2's perspective, it's going to create friction.
Totally. It's like the 1 needs to slow down, listen to their 2 partner, make sure they're both on the same page.
Yeah.
Finding that sweet spot where both people feel supported and understood.
Exactly. And that takes effort, obviously, from both sides. The 2 can't expect the 1 to completely change who they are.
Right.
And the 1 needs to appreciate that emotional intelligence and willingness to collaborate that the 2 brings.
It's appreciating the differences, right? Because often those are what create the spark in the first place. Now, we can't forget about through the life of the party.
Right.
How does their energy, that vibrant, expressive energy, blend with a 1?
Oh, get ready for some fireworks. This is a combination full of creativity, laughter, just a shared zest for life.
Okay.
Imagine that 1 ambition, that drive, but it's ignited by the 3's enthusiasm, their ability to find joy in, like, every single moment.
It's like the 1 is the captain steering the ship, and the 3 is the cruise director, making sure everyone's having a blast along the way.
I love that analogy.
But even on the most fun cruise, you need a little structure.
Right, 100%. And that's where the balance comes in, right?
Yeah.
The back provides that sense of direction, that focus that the 3 might lack sometimes. And the 3 helps the, maybe overly serious 1 to lighten up a bit, embrace the fun side of things.
They can learn so much from each other.
Yeah.
But again, balance is key. What advice for a 1 and a 3 trying to make it work long term?
Well, the 1 needs to be careful not to stifle the 3's self-expression, that spontaneity. A 3 who feels trapped or controlled their energy is going to fade.
Makes sense.
And the 3 needs to respect the 1's desire for structure, for achievement. It's about finding that rhythm together.
So communication, understanding, key no matter what numbers are in the mix. We're seeing that theme over and over. Now, we've covered a lot of ground, but there are a few more intriguing combos to go. What about a number 1 pairing with a 4? Those grounded, stable 4s.
This one can be a bit trickier to navigate, but it can be incredibly rewarding. The 4 craves stability, routine. They're the builders of numerology. The 1, well, they thrive on change, pushing boundaries.
It's like they're speaking different languages.
Yeah.
How do they even begin to get each other?
It takes effort, a willingness to step into the other person's shoes, see the world through their eyes. The 4 can give the 1 that sense of grounding, that security, that safe harbor we talked about.
Right.
And the 1 can help the 4 kind of step out of their comfort zone a bit, embrace new experiences they might have never considered before.
It's about appreciating those qualities that each person brings, even if they seem like total opposites at first.
Exactly.
Those differences can actually make the bond stronger if both people are open to it.
100%. Sometimes those opposing forces create the most, dynamic and fulfilling partnerships.
Okay.
Now let's move on to the 6. Known for that nurturing, harmonious energy, how does a 1 fare with this loving, supportive number?
It seems like the 6 could be the perfect counterbalance to the 1's independent nature, right? Someone to create a warm, loving home for the 1 to come back to after, a long day of conquering the world.
Spot on. The 6 is all about creating that harmony, that balance in their relationships. They thrive on providing that care and support. So yeah, a 6 can create that nurturing environment where the 1 feels safe to just be themselves. Strengths, vulnerabilities, the whole package.
That does sound like a pretty dreamy pairing, but any potential challenges there? Nothing's perfect, right?
Well, of course, like with any relationship, it has its complexities. The owner needs to be mindful not to take the 6's loyalty for granted.
Oh, yeah.
That nurturing nature, it should be cherished, reciprocated.
It's that classic opposites attract, but with the potential for a really beautiful partnership. As long as both people put in the effort to understand each other.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, the number 7, the seeker, the mystic, the deep thinker.
Ooh, yes.
How do they align with the very action-oriented 1? This one always gets me thinking.
It has me intrigued, too. It's like Fire and Ice or like a whirlwind romance novel waiting to happen.
Right.
What happens when you have one number constantly striving for, external success and another so focused on introspection?
It's a fascinating mix. The 7, they're drawn to knowledge, to introspection, to spirituality, while the 1, they're all about action, tangible results. It's like imagine the 1 eager to climb that corporate ladder, while the 7 is content just delving into ancient philosophy.
Head versus heart. Or maybe even action versus contemplation.
You got it. The 1 might struggle with the 7's need for solitude, for deep thought. Try dragging a 7 to a networking event when they'd rather be home reading about astrophysics.
Oh, totally. Good luck with that.
Right. And the 7 might find the 1's constant need for action overwhelming. It's all about finding that rhythm that works for both.
It sounds like a crash course in learning to appreciate different ways of moving through the world. How do they bridge that gap?
Respect, communication, as always, if they can truly appreciate and respect those differences.
Yeah.
This pairing has the potential for incredible growth. Imagine the 1, inspired by the 7's wisdom, and the 7, encouraged by that 1 action to bring their ideas out into the world.
It's recognizing those differences, even though they seem like obstacles, can actually enrich the relationship and help them both grow.
100%.
Okay, we're on a roll. Now, last of the individual numbers before we circle back to those powerful master numbers. The 8. Known for its strength, ambition, material success. How does this pairing play out?
Oh, get ready for some power moves, because this pairing screams power couple.
Right.
You have 2 incredibly ambitious individuals here, both driven to achieve, to create a legacy. Imagine those 1 visionary ideas combined with the 8's strategic thinking and ability to create abundance.
It does sound like a power couple in the making. But with all that ambition in one room, is there a risk of competition, power struggles? Who's the CEO of the relationship?
That's the million-dollar question, right? The key for this pairing is learning to share those reins, to respect each other's leadership qualities. If they can master that balance, sky's the limit.
Sounds like a crash course in collaboration, right? Learning to really leverage each other's strength. Because when those dynamics work, it is magic.
Exactly. And that brings us to the final pairing, the 1 and the 9.
Ooh, okay.
This one always makes me think bigger picture, greater good kind of stuff. It's idealism meets action.
Because the 9 is all about compassion, empathy, making a difference. They're like the humanitarians. How does that work with the 1's drive for personal achievement?
They're the humanitarians of numerology. always wanting to make the world a better place. And the 1, with those natural leadership skills, can be a fantastic ally in helping the 9 achieve their goals, make their vision a reality.
So it's like the 1 provides the roadmap, the 9 provides the heart. They both want to make a difference, but maybe go about it a little differently.
100%. The 1 might be more direct, action-oriented, diving right into projects. The 9 takes a more compassionate, intuitive approach, building consensus.
So it's about finding that common ground, respecting each other's strengths, even if they look different on the surface.
Exactly. It's about recognizing they're both working towards a shared vision, even if their paths aren't identical.
And when the 1 and the 9 can really learn from each other, work together.
Magic. They can accomplish amazing things.
I love it.
Now, you ready to dive back into those master numbers? We left off with the master builder, the 22.
You bet. We talked about 1 and 22, but what about pairing a 1 with the intuitive, visionary energy of an 11? That sounds like a recipe for, straight up magic.
Get ready for some inspiration, because this is a pairing that can change the world. The 11, they bring those big, innovative ideas that can revolutionize how we think, how we live.
Okay.
And the 1, drive to take those ideas and make them real, tangible.
Okay. So we're talking groundbreaking inventions, movements, world peace, maybe possibilities are kind of endless.
Truly, the possibilities are endless. But even with all that potential, there are still challenges. They need emotional support, too.
Right.
The 11, very intuitive, empathetic number, they need a partner who gets that emotional depth.
So balancing that ambition with compassion, understanding, even the most visionary ideas need that foundation of love and support to really take root.
100%. Now, the final pairing, the 1 and the 33, the master teacher, this one feels especially powerful, like a force of nature.
Because the 33 is all about, selfless service, spiritual enlightenment.
Yeah.
They dedicate their lives to making the world a better place.
Right. Precisely. Driven by this incredible sense of purpose, this desire to serve something bigger than themselves. Combine that with the 1's leadership, that drive, you have a partnership that can create some serious change in the world.
It's giving Mother Teresa meets Gandhi, a force for good that knows no bounds. What a combo. But even with all that good intention, got to be some potential bumps in the road, right?
You're right. No pairing's perfect, right? For this to work needs to be that shared vision, deep understanding. The 33 needs to feel supported in their mission, know their 1 partner has their back. And the 1 needs to feel fulfilled in that role as leader, as a catalyst.
So it's finding that synergy where both people feel empowered and inspired.
Yeah.
And then they can lean on each other and create something amazing.
Precisely. When those elements align, the impact is incredible.
Wow. A 1 and a 33 together.
Right.
Talk about a dynamic duo.
Yeah.
When you bring a master number into the equation, it's like the potential just explodes.
It's true. Master numbers, they definitely crank things up, add layers of complexity and purpose.
For sure. But even without a master number involved, number 1s, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a reason it's called number 1, right? So let's do a quick recap. Number 1s are the independent spirits. They don't mind shaking things up. What would you say are those core 1 traits?
Well, they're the natural-born leaders, right?
Yeah.
Driven by that deep need for freedom, that desire to innovate, to achieve their goals. We talked about their confidence, their self-reliance, their ability to just make things happen.
Right.
But we also talked about those potential pitfalls, especially in relationships where compromise and understanding are so important.
Yeah, it's not always easy being with a 1,
Right.
especially if you need a lot of reassurance or if you're intimidated by their go-getter attitude. But when you find that right match, someone who can match their energy and respect that independence, it can be electric.
It's true.
Like a true power couple situation.
Exactly. And numerology is all about understanding that each number combo has its own strengths and challenges. It's not about saying one pairing is better than another, but, understanding those dynamics so we can navigate them better with more awareness, more compassion.
I love that. It's like having a cheat sheet for relationships. You understand your own motivations better and the people you're connecting with. It's so cool.
It is. And here's something to think about. These numbers, they don't define you. It's not like you're stuck.
Right.
They're more like guideposts, to help you understand your strengths, challenges, where you can grow.
Yes. It's not about being a number. It's about using that knowledge to live your best life in your relationships, work, everything.
Absolutely. Numerology, it's all about self-discovery, about using these ancient tools to navigate this crazy thing called life with a little more awareness,
I love it. So the next time you come across your number, whether it's a 1, a 22, whatever resonates with you, remember, it's just one piece of your story.
That's right.
Embrace it. Learn from it. See where it takes you.
It's a journey.
It is. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the amazing world of the number 1 personality. We've had so much fun exploring this with you.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those numbers in mind, and remember,
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing all those, fascinating contradictions that make us who we are.